For years, Armenia has been a country quietly defined by its alliances, a small nation nestled in the South Caucasus, whose geopolitical choices have long seemed predetermined. But now, something significant is happening. In a move capturing the attention of diplomats from Moscow to Brussels, European leaders are converging on Armenia. 2 European summits are being held in the Armenian capital, sending clear signals of shifting tides. All the while, Russia, Armenia's traditional ally and regional heavyweight, is watching closely from the sidelines. Why is this moment so important? The answer goes far beyond diplomatic photo ops or ceremonial handshakes. What's unfolding in Armenia right now could reshape the region's economic and political landscape for years to come. It's a real-time test of how countries, especially those long tethered to powerful neighbors, navigate the pressures and opportunities of a changing global order. With European leaders on the ground and Moscow observing, Armenia finds itself at the crossroads of East and West, and the consequences will reach far beyond its borders. Let's set the current stage. The 2 European summits in Armenia are not just symbolic gestures. They represent a recalibration, however tentative, of Armenia's foreign policy orientation. For decades, Armenia's alignment with Russia has been more than a matter of convenience. It's been a structural reality, woven into the fabric of the country's security, economy, and even its sense of identity. Today, as European leaders arrive, that reality is being quietly but unmistakably challenged. The timing could hardly be more significant. Across the globe, alliances are in flux. From energy markets to supply chains, states are reevaluating long-standing relationships in pursuit of efficiency and resilience. For Armenia, increased engagement with Europe could offer not only new diplomatic avenues, but also the promise of fresh economic partnerships. But as with any shift in alignment, this is a high-stakes gamble, and the outcome is anything but certain. To understand why these summits matter so much, we need to look back. Armenia's relationship with Russia is rooted in history. During the Soviet era, Armenia was part of the USSR, and after the Soviet collapse, the 2 countries maintained deep ties. Russia has been Armenia's primary military partner, providing security guarantees in a volatile region. Economically, Russia is a major trading partner and investor, and thousands of Armenians work in Russia, sending back vital remittances. This close alliance didn't happen by accident. Armenia's geography, landlocked and surrounded by sometimes hostile neighbors, has made security a top priority. With ongoing tensions over Nagorno-Karabakh and difficult relations with Turkey and Azerbaijan, the support of a powerful patron like Russia has often seemed indispensable. Moscow, for its part, has been eager to maintain influence, seeing Armenia as a crucial foothold in the South Caucasus, a region where trade routes, energy pipelines, and strategic interests converge. But dependency has its costs. Armenia's economic reliance on Russia has sometimes limited its flexibility. Trade flows have traditionally been oriented toward Russian markets, and investment has followed political lines. When Russia sneezes, Armenia catches a cold. Over time, this has led to debates within Armenia about the risks of overdependence and the need for diversification. Yet, until recently, the gravitational pull of Moscow has proven difficult to escape. Now, with European summits underway in Yerevan, the calculus may be changing. The presence of European leaders is more than diplomatic theater. It's a signal that Armenia is exploring new options. For European countries, greater engagement with Armenia offers the chance to expand influence in a region that sits at the intersection of Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. For Armenia, it's an opportunity to broaden its economic base, attract investment, and perhaps reduce its exposure to Russian economic shocks. The economic implications are particularly significant. In today's global market, efficiency is king. States seek reliable partners, open trade routes, and diversified sources of investment to maximize growth and minimize risk. Armenia's outreach to Europe fits this logic. By welcoming European leaders and potentially deepening ties, Armenia could tap new sources of capital and technology, making its economy more resilient and competitive. European engagement could also mean access to new markets. Trade agreements, investment deals, and infrastructure projects may be on the horizon, offering Armenia a chance to integrate more fully into the global economy. For a country whose growth has often been constrained by geography and politics, this is no small prize. Diversification isn't just a buzzword, it's a survival strategy, especially for small states navigating the uncertainties of the 21st century. At the same time, the risks are real. The shadow of Russia looms large over these developments. You're watching Today in Context, where we go beyond the headlines to explain the forces shaping the world around us. If this kind of analysis helps you make sense of the bigger picture, like the video and subscribe for more. Moscow has invested heavily in maintaining its sphere of influence, and Armenia has long been a linchpin in its regional strategy. It's unclear how Russia will respond to Armenia's European overtures. Will Moscow see this as a betrayal or as a pragmatic adjustment that can be tolerated? The answer will depend on political calculations in both capitals and on the ability of Armenian leaders to manage a delicate balancing act. For now, Russia is watching. Its response could take many forms: diplomatic pressure, economic leverage, or more subtle shifts in bilateral relations. The Kremlin's calculus will be shaped by its own strategic priorities, as well as by the broader dynamics of its relationships with Europe. If Russia perceives Armenia's shift as a threat to its interests, it could use economic tools, such as trade restrictions or investment slowdowns, to remind Yerevan of the costs of drifting too far from Moscow's orbit. Armenia, therefore, faces a classic dilemma. Deepening ties with Europe could bring economic benefits and greater autonomy, but it risks provoking the ire of its most powerful neighbor. Navigating this tension will require careful diplomacy, clear-eyed realism, and a willingness to prioritize national interests over traditional loyalties. The stakes are high, and the margin for error is slim. Looking ahead, much remains uncertain. The immediate outcomes of these European summits will be closely scrutinized. Will they produce concrete agreements, or remain largely symbolic? Will European leaders offer Armenia tangible incentives, such as investment packages or trade deals, that can offset the risks of alienating Russia? Or will the summit serve primarily as a signal of intent, laying the groundwork for longer-term shifts? On the Russian side, the key question is how far Moscow is willing to go to defend its influence. Will it seek to punish Armenia for seeking alternatives, or will it attempt to compete for Armenia's loyalty by offering its own incentives? The answer will depend not only on Armenia's actions, but also on Russia's broader strategic situation, including its relations with Europe and its own economic pressures. There are also broader questions about the trajectory of Armenia's foreign policy. Are these summits the beginning of a sustained pivot toward Europe, or a temporary adjustment driven by current circumstances? Will Armenia seek integration into European institutions, or simply aim to diversify its partnerships while maintaining its traditional alliance with Russia? These are open questions, and their resolution will depend on the interplay of domestic politics, regional dynamics, and global market forces. For global markets and investors, Armenia's next moves will be watched closely. Political stability, market access, and the predictability of trade flows are all at stake. If Armenia succeeds in diversifying its economic partnerships, it could become a more attractive destination for investment. If, on the other hand, the shift provokes instability or disrupts existing trade relations, the costs could be significant. As always, markets will reward efficiency and penalize uncertainty. So what should we be watching for next? First, keep an eye on any official statements or agreements that emerge from the summits. These will provide the clearest signals of whether real progress is being made or whether the meetings are primarily symbolic. Second, monitor Russia's response, both in public diplomacy and in concrete actions. Any moves to restrict trade, limit investment, or apply political pressure will reveal Moscow's strategic priorities and its willingness to defend its sphere of influence. Third, watch for signs that Armenia is pursuing further integration with European institutions. This could include new trade agreements, cooperation on infrastructure projects, or steps toward regulatory alignment. Each of these moves would signal a deeper commitment to diversification and a willingness to accept the risks that come with it. Finally, keep in mind the broader context. Armenia's choices are not being made in a vacuum. They are shaped by global economic trends, shifting alliances, and the relentless drive for efficiency that defines today's international system. In a world where market incentives often outweigh ideology, the ability to adapt and seize new opportunities is essential for survival and growth. In conclusion, the convergence of European leaders on Armenia is more than a diplomatic event. It's a case study in the changing dynamics of global politics and economics. Armenia stands at a crossroads, weighing the benefits of diversification against the risks of disrupting old alliances. European engagement offers new possibilities for growth and resilience, but it also brings new challenges and uncertainties. As Russia looks on, the choices Armenia makes in the coming months will have consequences far beyond its borders. They will test the durability of old alliances, the appeal of new partnerships, and the ability of small states to chart their own course in a competitive, efficiency-driven world. For now, the outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear. In the global marketplace of alliances and investments, those who adapt quickest and most effectively will shape the future. Armenia's story is still being written. As European leaders depart and the dust settles, the world will be watching to see which path this small but strategically significant nation decides to take, and what that decision will mean for the delicate balance of power in the region. Whatever comes next, the intersection of market logic, geopolitical calculation, and national ambition will continue to drive the story forward. The stories that define tomorrow are already unfolding today. Subscribe to Today in Context for clear, grounded analysis of the events shaping our world, one story at a time.